In a world where carbs are your enemy, you need one man to help you fight your battles. That man is Jimmy.
Combating nutrition, disinformation, and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
Supplements, healthy mix of all the fats, few carbs, I'ma be real, and the new ketogenic bar. It's a meal that'll get you far. Yeah, kissmyketo.com. Use LLVLC for 20% off. $50 purchase or more on one order. Yeah.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live. And we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. And if you want to be a part of the show, we do these live. So go follow me on Instagram. I'm at Living Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you are there, you can engage live in the content, just like all of these people are doing right now. If you missed the live, you can watch it on replay for up to 24 hours on Instagram. After 24 hours, it does disappear from Instagram. So be sure to go watch all the past episodes up on YouTube. Type in a keyword Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Finally, we have a Jimmy Rants podcast, which does have the best of the best moments of this here show in podcast form. JimmyRants.com is the website that has all of these links all packaged up in one website just for you. Today's Jimmy Rants is another one of those that's off the beaten path of what I typically talk about here on Jimmy Rants. Those of you that follow regularly know I talk about nutritional health and specifically ketogenic diets and some of the mindset and some of the other things that are associated with going keto. But today we're going off the beaten path because today, as of the recording of this, is Valentine's Day. So it's February the 14th, and everybody who is in love looks at this day as something special. And I'm here to tell you today that I don't. And I want to talk about why I don't celebrate Valentine's Day as a happily married man. All right, a little bit of perspective here from my background. I, in college, was dating this girl, and I remember it was Valentine's Day in the early 90s, and I thought she might be the one, okay? And I remember on Valentine's Day, that day, getting all the roses and the chocolates and the teddy bears and all this kind of stuff. All the stuff that you're supposed to do on Valentine's Day. And I remember giving her all of those gifts, and within 30 seconds of her having all of those gifts in her possession, she proceeded to dump me on Valentine's Day. So perhaps that jades my perception a little bit about Valentine's Day, somewhat. It certainly left an indelible impression on me that it's a day where people think they have to perform acts of love. And not those kinds of acts of love, but doing things for the person in their life that they feel like they feel forced commercially to go buy the $9,000 roses today, to go buy the big boxes of chocolates, which nobody needs anyway, to go buy jewelry and things like that for that significant other, to get some big teddy bear. All of these things are what our culture tells us we are supposed to do on Valentine's Day. And can I tell you, as a man, that is highly, highly insulting to me. And it's telling me that I don't have the right to choose not to do those things. There's almost this obligation that guys have to go through on a day like today where the expectation level is that you do all this stuff for your girl. And Christine and I have talked about this quite a bit, and she concurs with me that today she's completely fine with getting absolutely nothing from me. And you want to know why? Because all the other 364 days of the year, she is getting spoiled, absolutely rotten by yours truly. And that's the thing I want to communicate here is, why do we need one day out of the entire year to tell us when we're supposed to love our significant other? Didn't we say till death do we part for those of us that got married? And if you're in a steady relationship with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, didn't you, when you committed to being with that person, didn't you commit in your heart that you were going to love them on a daily basis? So why do we need some arbitrary date on the calendar? Why do we need that? To tell us that, oh, well, you need to love your significant other. Well, what if I do it all the rest of the year? Why do I have to have a date on the calendar tell me that today's the day that I love Christine and no other day of the year do we celebrate that? Does that make any sense at all? So no, I am no fan. If you're just joining us, I'm explaining why I don't celebrate Valentine's Day, and I'm a happily married man. Christine and I have been together almost 25 years, and not once have I felt compelled to do anything for her on Valentine's Day. Now, when I was courting her, before I had this kind of philosophy, which, by the way, if you missed the story earlier, I got dumped on Valentine's Day in the early 90s. And it was 1 year later that I found Christine. So it did work out, by the way. But I remember that very first Valentine's Day, I was still courting Christine. I remember she was in college at the time taking some classes, and I went by her house and I asked her parents if I could decorate her room. So I put streamers up and balloons and rose petals everywhere and did the whole shebang. You know, and that worked out really good in terms of she enjoyed that and everything. But the longer we've done this, it seems like, why do you have to have that day to celebrate? So now she knows, all right, February 14th, I ain't getting nothing. But every other day of the year, so we have the reverse Valentine's Day. She gets stuff every single day except for February the 14th. So like yesterday, I gave her a bracelet. It's not Valentine's Day. I gave her a bracelet. She loved it. Semi-precious stones, nice little 6-stone little bracelet thingy. Tomorrow, we are going to go to the Atlanta area. We're speaking at an event on Saturday, the Adapt Atlanta event. And tomorrow, I bought us tickets to go to Medieval Times, to go see the little show there. And so, not February the 14th. So I spoil her 364 days. All right, guys, what you got? Right? So you give your girl roses, you give your girl a Valentine's Day card, a mushy little card that you didn't take a whole lot of thought into buying. You get her the chocolates, you get her the teddy bear, you might get her some jewelry. Good job. What are you doing the rest of the year? What are you doing to show her love and respect the rest of the year? I would dare say a lot of guys don't. And I'm not trying to judge you in any way, but I think we have it so backwards the way we do things. And if I have to have a date on the calendar tell me that it's okay to spoil my wife and love her today, something's wrong with that relationship. And that's why we don't celebrate Valentine's. Here's the other thing, and I'm always cognizant of this every time Valentine's Day comes along. What if you're single today? What if you're a single person? What if you have tried to find your Valentine and you haven't found him yet? How depressing a day this is. So that's yet another reason to not be celebrating Valentine's Day. You make all these people feel bad. I feel bad for them. It's kind of like Mother's Day when you're not a mother, or Father's Day when you're not a father. Those are extremely hard days to celebrate. And February 14th is a tough one for people that are single. So I'm always thinking of those people on days like this. A lot of them are they're over it by now, especially one like my sister Beverly is a single woman. And I just feel bad for her because this is the day that women are supposed to be, lavished with lots of gifts and love and adoration. And so if we don't put so much heavy emphasis on it commercially to perform on February the 14th, to have all these gifts and everything, then those people don't feel as bad either. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit now. But the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is, now you know why I don't celebrate Valentine's Day, and I'm a happily married man. Christine and I have been together for a quarter century, and we're extremely happy having each other's presence, not just February the 14th, but 364 other days of the year. And I got to be on my A game from February the 15th until February 13th the next year, because this is the one day I don't got to get her nothing. And I don't. And she's happy about that because she gets plenty of stuff all throughout the year that shows how much I love her. All right, I'm really interested in seeing what you guys have to say. Welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for being here, you guys. Let's see. We don't celebrate Valentine's Day either, says Brittany. Ever. We hate this holiday. That's interesting, Brittany. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't. They just don't articulate it, which is why I wanted to do it here today on Jimmy Rants. Sharon says, I love you, and I agree totally with this. Today is the biggest ripoff. I would rather get things for no reason on any regular day. And I love that. The spontaneity that comes with giving Christine a gift on April 17th, just because it's not any particularly special day, and boom, she gets it. She loves it. I love doing those kind of things for her, like before I leave on a trip. So before I went to Long Beach for the event a couple weeks ago, I got her this little ring that changes colors and stuff, and she was ecstatic. Didn't know it was coming. Brittany says, my husband often brings me flowers and pork rinds. Flowers and pork rinds? What do you like keto or something? That's great. I love it. Bonnie says, we don't celebrate this day either. It's just a Hallmark making money day. It's about every day. And I think people are waking up to that. I think they're waking up to the reality that a lot of these holidays that we celebrate, like Valentine's Day, are just contrived to be able to make more money commercially, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not anti-capitalism, very pro-capitalism. But what I'm anti is people feeling pressured into thinking that today, because it's Valentine's Day, you are required to spend 3 times the amount of money on flowers than you would any other day. Probably a lot more than 3 times. And buy chocolates and buy stuffed animals and go to the jewelry store. You don't have to do all that stuff. I would challenge you not to do that stuff today and explain why to your significant other, and then let them know, you know what? Randomly, I'm going to surprise you here, there, and everywhere the rest of the year. I guarantee you, if you're a dude watching this and you tell your wife that's what you're doing, or you tell your significant other that's what you're doing, they would be thrilled to see that spontaneity. And that is a huge secret to staying together as well, by the way. Nita says, my husband told me I'm his forever Valentine. He also said, don't worry because I'm not going to get you any candy. You've worked hard to get where you're at, and it's working. Well, Nita, you got you a good man. And I love that he recognizes that candy's probably not a good idea for you. You'd rather him spend that money on a little bling bling probably anyway. So congrats on 25 years. Thank you, Kings. And you know, we're going to keep being together. We've been through a whole lot of things in our life, and yeah, I couldn't imagine life without her. Katrina says, I couldn't agree with you more. Happily married 12 years, and we show love every single day. That's right. Quite Contrary says, LOL, today is our 25th wedding anniversary. Well, you better celebrate that. That's interesting. You got married on Valentine's Day, so that's great. It's hard to get a good dinner at a restaurant, but today's not arbitrary for us. Our choice was romantic. Some, not so much. It's all good. So you could celebrate your anniversary, going out like this weekend. You could do it next week, so it's apart from all of the nonsense that goes on today. But kudos to you guys. 25 years staying together is hard. Val says, I get lots of random surprises. I love doing that for Christine. And sometimes it's things that she doesn't even think about. And she's like, oh my God. And so that's the fun part for me. And I don't have to pay quadruple prices because they're jacking up the prices because it's Valentine's Day. Not that I wouldn't. If she really wanted something, I would. But it's a whole lot more fun when you do it on your own pace and not have the calendar tell you it's time to ravish your loved one with gifts. Brittany likes my little bracelet thingy verbiage. Little bracelet thingy. I don't know what it's called. All I know is it was a bracelet that had 6 semi-precious stones. It was so funny because when I gave it to her, Brittany, I said, those are semi-precious stones. And what are they? I'm like, heck if I know. It was a purple one, a green one, and a yellow one. I said, I remember they told me, times 2, I remember they told me that it was all the same stone, just different color. And so she's sitting there going, is it this? Is it that? I don't know. I just gave it to you. Enjoy the bracelet. Sandy John 5 says, so bummed I can't make it to the conference on Saturday. I'm only an hour and a half away. Well, I hate that you're not coming either, but we'll be back, I'm sure. Nita says, I was watching your and her video. You could just see how proud you are of her and the love in your eyes. I do love her, and I do think what she's doing now, sharing the knowledge on nutritional therapy, she's just amazing. And I'm really proud of her. Very proud of her. I was a floral designer for 20 plus years. Valentine's Day meant 18-hour days on my feet the whole time, says Val. Yeah, Christine's grandmother, before she passed away, used to own a flower shop. And yeah, Valentine's Day was kind of their Super Bowl. They got all kinds of income, but it was hard work. And then Christine's grandfather actually delivering all of those flowers and everything. Yeah, that's a hard job. It's kind of like retail at Christmas time. No, thank you. Kings says, my coworker had me go to the lunchroom with him today to show him how to read labels and to show him what was okay to eat. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Sherry says, it's fun to find things that make you happy that are not food related. Maybe a nice massage. Now you're talking. Christine would not be unhappy. Although she's not a big fan of massage. I love massage. She doesn't like people touching her, so... Keto My Success, remarried at 50 for 5 months, was widowed at 35. I totally agree with this. Well, kudos to you for finding love again. Downtown Vapors, he brings me flowers regularly throughout the year. And see, that's the way to do it. You got you a good man. All right, guys. So the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is perhaps today there is this expectation level that guys need to go buy their significant other roses, chocolates, teddy bears, jewelry, all the stuff that society tells them if you're a good lover, you will fill in the blank. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do any of that stuff. And I don't celebrate Valentine's Day, and we're very happily married. Very. My brother reached out, is asking about keto. He needs it. Makes me happy. Excellent. Excellent. Dreaming of my next vacay, which I love that username, by the way. So maybe you're watching this and you go, okay, well, what do I do with this? I think you have that conversation with your significant other and you let them know what you're thinking. And I had this conversation with Christine. We're not going to celebrate Valentine's Day. I will get you stuff any other day of the year except for February the 14th. Any other day, but not today. because today's Valentine's Day, and today is when we're told we must love you. I don't need to be told when to love my wife. I love my wife, period. And if it means I don't get her anything on February the 14th, but I do every other day of the year, then that's what we're going to do. And that is what we do. Grandma does keto. We find cards in the grocery store, exchange them, laugh, and then put them back. Married 40 years. You're a cheap date. I love that. Find cards in the grocery store, exchange them, and then put them back. I may try that. That's pretty funny. Jesse says, my mom wanted to give me flowers. My daughter recommended a big roll of Amish butter instead. She knows me well. Yeah, save your money on those flowers. The flowers will be dead in 3 or 4 days. That butter, that's pretty awesome. Get the markdown stuff on February the 15th. Now, talk about a cheap date, Brittany. But I know people that do that with Christmas. They don't celebrate on December the 25th. They wait till all the after Christmas sales, and then they celebrate like the first week in January, and you get all the cheaper. Anyway, yeah. Luna Shine 4 says, we exchange steaks. See, that's love. That's real love. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, engage in the content live, just like all these beautiful people did here today. You can do that by following me on Instagram. I'm Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVIN LOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live, or you can watch it on replay. So if you're watching this on replay, happy Valentine's Day to you. Don't celebrate it. Just kidding. But thanks for watching today on Instagram live on replay. If you missed the replay, you can actually watch all the past episodes up on YouTube, so go follow me there. Jimmy Rants is a keyword search. You will find the show. Finally, we had the best of the best moments of this here show in podcast form on the Jimmy Rants podcast. It's on Apple Podcast and Stitcher. JimmyRants.com is the link to all of these places. Sherry Smiles says, it takes value away when you give in to the commercialism of Valentine's Day. Yeah, I would think it means so much more to give your special loved one a gift next week or last week or a couple months from now. It has to mean so much more to do it then than to do it today. So again, if you've already planned all kind of stuff for today, don't let me make you feel guilty about that, but just know there might be a better way. And so hopefully I've given you some things to think about. And so thanks for watching Jimmy Rants. We'll see you again real soon. Bye.